Well, good morning. Well, it's morning as I'm videotaping this, and this is Wayne, and welcome to Fruits and Berries Homestead. I sure appreciate y'all watching this, and it's sort of an impromptu video. I didn't really plan on it, but this whole week is going to be off and on thunderstorms, rain here in northeastern Tennessee, and it's very difficult to do much, when you're out and about with your garden scenario or whatever is going on a homestead that perhaps you have or you're doing. Well, as I have shared before, I am in a subdivision here in northeastern Tennessee. It's actually a very beautiful subdivision. Almost every lot with, I don't know how many homes there are, 30 to 40 homes in this location. We all have minimal, like a half an acre, and then it goes up from there. And so the houses are spaciously apart, and it's always been sort of a picturesque homestead. In other words, everybody has flower beds and picture perfect lawns, both in the front and the rear. And in reference to any type of gardening or anything of that nature, zilch. My wife, Ida, and I, we moved here back in December of 2019, and just prior to Christmas, and actually that first week we were here, it snowed. So that was really interesting to get used to an area that we've never lived in before. Well, here we are now in September. Today is Saturday, September 7th, and I'm sitting here on a bar stool, a wooden stool that is, and I'm in my garage. We have an oversized garage with huge vaulted ceilings. It's for both vehicles or whatever, and it's very spacious, unless you have it filled up with your stuff. Well, we also have a storage place underneath the house, and they call it a crawl space, but you can almost stand up underneath there, and it goes from one end of the house to the other. So a lot of our belongings, so to speak, are there. And even though I've put so much there, still inside this garage, it's pretty packed. So as you all know, I have shared before that it's trying to get my thoughts placed here as this is impromptu, but we had to put a place for the quail. I started the quail adventure last February, ordered 50 eggs from My Shire Farms out there in Ohio, and I didn't know what I was doing, but in my heart, I knew that quail would have a place with what we're doing here, and I want to share a little bit of that. And this morning, the housing currently with our quail is in the garage. We don't have much space in our property here, as the back of our property steeply slopes up. The only place that's really level in the back of our acreage here is the patio, of course, a cement patio. And it's typical, 12 by 12, whatever. And it has a covered porch. And then off on both sides of the back patio, I filled in with lava rock and stuff, because that was sort of flat also. And I have placed garden beds in those two scenarios. And so I'm not really wanting to talk about that so much this morning, but I'm just saying I'm trying to justify why I'm sitting here and chatting with you. But I want to show you with what I do basically on a daily basis here with our 30 plus quail. Yesterday I processed it was 6. Excuse me, it was 5. It was 5 quail I processed. They were all roosters. And I do want to let you know that the hens that we have we're averaging no less than 2 to 3 per rooster. And in some of the layer areas, I've got like a rooster to like 5 or 6 of the hens. Pretty much, I pretty well have resolved the issue with the roosters bludgeoning the hens. Quail are very interesting. They call them the little chicken, and boy, have I gone through a learning process here. I've had roosters or hens peck at each other, and you know, just I would discover blood, and then I'd find who the culprit is, and then I would find out that, well, it was sort of my mistake, because I would put 2 roosters together with 3 or 4 hens, and the competition with the roosters was not good. Or I would take some hens and put them in a different location and with a brand new rooster, and one of the hens would be like the She-Hulk. She would go and try to poke out the eye of the rooster that was trying to do his thing with her. And if I allowed that to continue, the hen would have surpassed and would have bludgeoned the head and possibly poked out an eye of the rooster or other hens. So I have now gotten the birds sort of where they are accepting everything that I have placed them into. And every time you make a change with the Coturnix quail, a lot of times it affects the laying process because it's a different environment. You're introducing other birds to something that was pretty secure and safe in their opinion. And I have come to realize what to do and what not to do. And if we want eggs, I leave everything alone and I don't move anything. I just clean them as I do twice a week, and I make sure they have the food and the water, and that's it. Well, yesterday I took out 5 of the roosters. My precious wife didn't want anything to do with it because she says, how can you hatch with the incubator and you watch them being born, you know, crack through the eggshell, and in some cases, you know, you even help them with their curled feet, you know, if they come out that way, and we've done that a few times, and we've always been successful to eliminate that issue later, and their feet are back to normal. We have to do a splinting situation with their toes, and with Scotch tape and a little piece of like a cardboard scenario, very thin. And that's been interesting. Probably I should do a video on that because it's very successful if you ever have that, if you're doing quail. We have 2 market stores, you know, grocery stores in other words, but they're out here in the country as we live really close to the Cherokee National Forest, and they are selling our eggs. It's just incredible. And so with only 14 hens, and sometimes 1 or 2 may not lay, but then there are days that we get 14 eggs, and every other day we get average 13. But anyway, that's the way it's been. But when you have 2, and one of the country stores, they're owned by the same owner. He is selling our eggs, but his main store, which is like 2 or 3 times the size of the smaller store, I mean, these things, they posted us on their Facebook page. It's called Troyer's Country Marketplace here in Limestone, Tennessee, and they're the ones marketing our quail eggs, and we're blessed. We're totally blessed, and it's incredible. I would have never planned this back in February. I'm just thinking just for Ida and I. And now this thing is growing. So anyway, that's pretty much it. And I just want to give one last tidbit here. I know this is getting long, but I am making a sizable decision ever since 2019, maybe it was 2018, I came up with the name Fruits and Berries, because when we used to live out in Texas on our acreage out there, my whole game plan was grapes and plums and anything that Zone 8 could produce, and was very successful. We lived in that house for about 5 years before we moved to Tennessee, and of course, by the time the trees got old enough to start bearing fruit, I'm talking about apples, pears, persimmon tree. I had I don't know how many fruit trees, 30 to 40 or whatever at one time out there, including the nut trees like chestnut and walnut and others. Well, not chestnut and walnut there. I have chestnut and walnut here in Tennessee. So I named it Fruits and Berries. Small Tennessee and Homestead is what I've been known since 2019 in a way. I'm thinking one last time, bear with me here, because my kids, at least some of them, want to be much involved, with the homestead here, and we all have the birth last name of Sparks. And so instead of saying fruits and berries, because for the last 2 years we've had a late frost here in northeastern Tennessee, and it's destroyed my entire orchards of peaches and cherries and nectarines and plums, and those like 4 areas. The trees are mature enough to do mass producing, and every single time they have blossomed, and some of them even starting to form fruit. Then you get this doggone late frost, and it comes sweeping in here to northeastern Tennessee, and I'm near the Virginia, North Carolina area here in Tennessee, and it just kills everything. But one thing it doesn't kill is our grapes. And so we had an extremely awesome orchard harvest of Thompson seedless, Concord, and blue. I guess I call them just blue grapes. They don't really know what they weren't Concord, but they're sweet as sugar. They were all harvested pretty much at the end of June and into into June and July, and now our muscadines are coming in, and whoa! And this is their first year of a sizable harvest here, so I'll be doing an update on that. We actually made last night, Ida and my wife and I, we had homemade muscadine grape juice. And pure, the antioxidants and stuff that these grapes do for the human body are unbelievable. And sweet as sugar, of course. So if you're type 2 or diabetic or whatever, you got to be careful. But we'll only drink it or do jellies and stuff in moderation, of course. But so I've got some updates to do with you there as I'm doing a vineyard on the side of our home here. So anyway, so that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I know I ramble on, but it's been a long time since I made a video. So I am changing, I don't know when, not this week or whatever, but eventually we're going to be known as the Sparks Family Homestead. Sparks being, of course, our name. And my son and daughter-in-law out there in Washington will be coming to Tennessee. They'll be somewhat a part of everything that's going on here, and possibly a future land expansion. So who knows? Who knows how this will all come about? But hopefully things will be turning around in the nation, hopefully soon, and it has to, because I cannot see us going the path that we're going much longer. Actually, I can't even believe we've made it this far. So anyway, I don't want to get into any political situation here. So God bless you all, and thanks for watching Fruits and Berries Homestead here in northeastern Tennessee. Wishing you the very best, and I will begin with the grapes pretty soon, weather permitting, because we've had rain for the last 3 days here. Okay, take care and God bless. Bye-bye.